Good morning. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. It is the 26th of September. It is 11 a.m. Central European Time, 10 a.m. in the UK, and probably 1 or 2 p.m. where most of you are watching from today. So we have a busy day. I am on my own today. Brogan was with me yesterday. Hollywood was with me yesterday. It was a bit of a poor show yesterday. The sound wasn't right. It was a bit of a mess. So I do apologise for that. And hopefully today, tomorrow, Thursday, and for the rest of the week, everything should be fine. Good show today. We're going to have a quick look at the markets in a minute. Especially we're going to have a look at Bitcoin. Then we're going to talk about the WLD token, the WorldCoin token. I have covered it in the past. I have made a video on YouTube about it, but we're going to cover it again today because there's been some price action that I want to go over. Then we're going to move into news. We're not going to do too many projects today, simply because we try and mix it up every day. So we're going to look at 3 pumps, 3 things that can get Bitcoin and crypto moving. Then we're going to look at the sale or purchase, which some of you may or may not know about. We're then going to look at boring Bitcoin. This is a opinion piece. We're going to cover the $200 million loss. This happened a couple of days ago, but I didn't want to cover it until the actual news was out. Even CZ yesterday or the day before was saying on Twitter that he had no idea what this exchange was, whether it was decentralized and what had been stolen. So we're going to go over that. And then the impending debt ceiling in America is once again going to delay everything to do with crypto, regulations, the usual things that you expect. Where do we go from here? So we have a busy day. The show should take about 45 minutes. We're not going to be here all day. We will try and get it done as fast as possible. Good morning to Crypto King. Good morning to Kamal. Remember, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what you're drinking. This morning I am on coffee because it's just one of those days. I'll be drinking the coffee, going through the news, and hopefully you guys will be interacting. So, as I said, comment, ask any questions you've got. Remember, there's no stupid questions, only stupid answers, and we do try to avoid them. So let's move on to the first topic of the day, which is, of course, the markets. Now, I did put up a post on a couple of exchanges yesterday where I said I was expecting a short-term bounce for Bitcoin. We were down nearly 26,000 on the nose. We're at 26.1, 26.50 yesterday. So I was expecting this small pump up, 0.5%. But I'm going to go through that chart in a second. So overall, market cap is up a tad. Volume is still really low. 22 billion is really low. I mean, going back to the previous bull run, we were looking at 100 to 150 billion dollars a day in volume. We are, a pale shadow of that right now. Bitcoin dominance, it's not really moved. Neither has Ethereum dominance. If anything, Ethereum dominance has dropped slightly. Now, in the last 24 hours, Maker is up a bit. Frax, GMX, nothing really to write home about, is rising. Chainlink, I will. I'm going to bring up the Link chart. I want to show you something to do with Link in a minute. So we'll have a quick look at Link because there is a buy and sell opportunity there for you. 24-hour losers, again, nothing down a lot. Render, $86 for Quant. That is an absolute steal. Remember, Quant has a very low circulating supply. There's only about 15 million or so Quant. So the supply is very low. It is fundamental to the way that payment systems are going to work in the future. So Quant could very well have a huge run up in the next bull run. Algo's down a tad. Algo can't get back above 10 cents. We covered this yesterday. Toncoin, small pullback. Remember, it is up 50%. That is the coin of Telegram. Even though they're separate companies, it was formed out of Telegram. So overall, nothing really to report for the day. Now, Bitcoin, I said yesterday that when we were at this point here, I said that the market is going to do one of two things. It's going to do this, or it's going to do this. The reason is that we have a lot of indecision in the market. As you can see, we have 3 levels of liquidity, one back at the area that we were at, which is 26.6. We've got another area down here, which is about 25.8, 25.9, and we're currently sitting here. Now, as you know, you've been listening to me for a long time now, and I am not going to change my tune. I think actually it might be on the daily chart that I've put the numbers. Yeah. So as I keep saying, like a stuck record, we've got these 2 areas. We're absolutely nailed on with any more bad news to come down to this area at 23,000. 20,000 is my worst case scenario. As you saw, we had this higher lows that broke, and now we're in this downward channel, if you like. My mouse is really not working well today. So we are in this, what is going on with my mouse? We are in this kind of downward path. Some kind of bug. I expect us to come down over the next over the next 3 or 4 weeks at minimum to those levels. I do think we will have weathered the storm by the end of the year. And don't forget, the daily has been showing bullish divergence for a long time. It just hasn't played out. We've had small, tiny pump, but I still think we're going to come crashing down. Now, one thing I do want to point out, because it's playing out as we said last week, is that we have this range which I spoke about, and this range has been going on for 15 months on Link. So what I have been saying is that these areas down here, this is your sell zone. The red area is your sell zone. So as soon as Link comes down to, what's that, $5.90, anything below $5.90 you sell. No, sorry, you buy. I'm looking at the top end of the chart. At the top end, as you can see, we've hit this level, which is $8.50, $8.45. We keep breaking that and coming down, touching it, coming down, breaking it, coming down, touching it, coming down. So what do we think is going to happen here? Let's see if I can draw this without my mouse throwing it everywhere. This is going to happen. Maybe not in that line, maybe we more like this, and then we'll come down again. So there is a buy and sell opportunity for Link. There is a short opportunity at $8.40. There is also, if you hold Link, a sell opportunity here. When we go into the red area, you should be looking to long Link, and you should be looking to accumulate here. This is not based on anything other than what has happened since May 2022. May 2022, we have been stuck in this pattern. There is bullish news out at the minute about Link, but just bear that in mind. If you are a trader, that is a really nice chart to follow. It's a really nice, simple way. The only downside I would say to this, if I can draw the line, why is my line doing this? Is that we are putting in lower highs. I can't draw today for some reason. So just bear that in mind. Now we're going to move on very quickly, and we're going to talk about WorldCoin. The reason we're going to talk about WorldCoin is one of our viewers got in touch and asked me to have a look at it again. I looked at this the day it went live, Actually need to drop a box. Good morning, Tariq. Good morning. Who else is there? Evgeny. Good morning, Sigal. Welcome to the stream. So we're going to take a very quick look at WorldCoin, and then we're going to look at the chart action. Now, I also made a video about this 6-8 weeks ago, and I am not a fan of the project in the slightest. I think they've gone around about the project the wrong way. They haven't dealt with the countries that they have been taking digital IDs of. They're being investigated in certain countries, and it's all a little bit of a mess. So what is WorldCoin? WorldCoin is trying to provide a digital ID for every human on the planet. So far, as you can see, they've done 2.3 million people. For every person who registers, they are given, is it 20 WorldCoin, I believe? Or is it 10? It's 10 or 20 WorldCoins that you get for letting them scan you. Now, they use these things called orbs, which is a round ball that you stand in front of, and it scans your retina and then produces a digital ID based on that. Now, for those of you that prefer your privacy, this isn't something that you want to do. However, my opinion of the project should not change the way I look at the chart or the way I look at things. So I'm not going to comment further on it. But WorldCoin is basically creating a digital ID of the world. Okay, and it's had a very bumpy start. So we've had a small move up over the last 10 days or so. There is some bearish divergence on here. So if you look at the range that we're in, we've broken up, we've hit here, we've come down, we've tested support, we've worked our way up, we've reached the previous area of resistance. So what do I think is going to happen to WorldCoin? I think we are going to come down to either 155 or we'll continue down to 132. As we always say on this stream, everything dances to the beat of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin drops to $23,000 or $20,000, everything's going to be pulled with it. So bear that in mind. Whenever you look at charts, or you look at the RSI, you look at the volume area profile, whenever you look at any of these things, you have to remember that macro events affect Bitcoin. Bitcoin affects the entire market. So for me, WorldCoin is looking, let me just check if that is a different chart. I made another chart on this. Okay, it's the same chart, I think, pretty much. Yeah. So as far as I can see, I'm expecting some kind of retracement from here. Again, there's massive liquidity down here. So this range here that it's been stuck in, there's a lot of liquidity. So what I would do, and this is not financial advice, is I would expect some retest of 155, 156, or even 133. Remember, if a country comes out and says that they're investigating WorldCoin, that will push the price down. If Bitcoin has a wobble and falls to 25,000, 25.2, that would cause the price to drop. So I think we're at a good level now to take profits, and potentially look at where are you going to be buying in this coin. Remember, this huge sell-off at the start was simply down to the fact that the tokens were being dumped after the initial launch. What is this? So we launched when? July. So it's only been live 2 months. Now we've been in this downward movement, which is fine. It's a new coin. This is possibly a sell-off. The people that are getting the tokens are selling them off and taking the profits. We've come down to the red area. We've found some level of resistance at $1, roughly $1. Then we've started to make a move up. But as I said, we have bearish divergence on this. We have a huge pool of liquidity in this area between 133 and 155. So I do expect a retracement. So Marlene, if you are watching or listening, I hope that answers your question. I do believe I've just seen you in chat, but I could be wrong. Remember, ask questions in chat. Drop me any questions. Let me know what you're doing. More than happy to answer you. Good morning, Jazz B. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in and supporting us every day. So as far as I can see, WorldCoin should be coming down. Now we're going to move on. We're doing really well for time. We're going to go through more of a news day today. I suppose there is one thing I should cover before we get into the news, and that is that if you are fans of BTC Crypto, you'll know that we covered this on the stream 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I said we wouldn't talk about it anymore unless something major happened. Well, it's not technically related to the crypto markets, but he is the biggest crypto influencer, so it is worth a mention. So basically, somebody took his Lambo, he live streamed going to the person's house last night, and he's currently behind bars. It's not something that we're going to cover on the stream today, but just be aware that if you go to, I don't know, Twitter or YouTube and type in BitBoy, you'll see all the news about it. But I'm not going to cover that on here. I've made a couple of videos about it, but I'm not going to talk about it on here because it's not really important. What is important is that most of the news today that I have found is to do with Bitcoin, and for me that is bullish. If you remember during the summer when we were streaming, a lot of the news was about meme coins, was about Pepe, it was about Doge, it was about pump and dumps, it was about trying to protect your capital, trying to stop you from degenerating into these schemes. The news today, apart from the BitBoy news, the news today has been dominated by Bitcoin. Now for me, this is bullish because remember, I look at the news every single day and I can see patterns in the news. So I will look at 30 articles for today's show and I will only include 5 or 6. So it takes a long time to prepare these streams. It might not look like I just come and sit down in front of a computer and start talking, but a lot of research goes into these shows. And I get a feel from the industry of what's making the news. And today it's been dominated by Bitcoin and by BitBoy, but we'll ignore BitBoy as I've said. So there's lots of articles about Bitcoin, and I've included most of the important ones today. So the 3 pumps, these are the 3 things that could start the bull run. Sailor is massive news. Boring Bitcoin is what we want at this stage of the market, and the delayed bills is also to do with Bitcoin and crypto. So today is going to be very Bitcoin heavy. Other days we'll talk about Link, XRP, Matic, whatever it might be, but today is about Bitcoin. So Pantera Capital have determined 3 catalysts for the next crypto bull run. We're going to call him Cosmo. So Cosmo's picked out 3 things, And what I will say about Cosmo is these are 3 absolutely bang on for obvious reasons there's going to be the start of the bull run. And that is, the first one is of course the Bitcoin ETF. Now, as we know, the Bitcoin ETF isn't going to happen this side of 2024. There's no way they're going to be approved. None at all. Gary Gensler is holding on for dear life to control of the SEC. There are bills being put through Parliament to remove him. We're not going to talk about that too much now, but suffice to say that everybody is pushing for these Bitcoin ETFs. They're not going to happen before February, January next year. However, when they do happen, remember the timing. Everything is to do with timing. The Fed are going to start to reduce interest rates at the beginning of next year. There is an election towards the end of next year, which will start ramping up February and March time. The ETFs have to be approved by January or February or March. I can't remember when it is. The halving is happening in April. We have a perfect storm at the moment for a massive halving event. There are things that can knock this, by the way, or there are things that can take the wind out of the sails. If there is another conflict, maybe in Taiwan, that would be a black swan event. But there's also white swan events. If there is an end to the conflict in Eastern Europe, for example. If we ignore those two, if we ignore the conflict for a second, everything is lined up for February, March and April. Don't expect anything between now and then. If you have the opportunity to buy Bitcoin at $20,000, $23,000, $25,000, they are perfect accumulation zones for buying Bitcoin. So the first one is the ETF. The second is an improving regulatory environment, which he says is perhaps evident by 2 big lawsuit victories over the US SEC by Ripple and Grayscale. Grayscale wasn't really a massive victory. Let's not hype that one up. The Ripple one was, but Grayscale wasn't. This regulatory landscape isn't going to change until there is a new president. Remember that Joe Biden appointed Gary Gensler. So the new president will appoint his or her... the new president will appoint his or her new man or woman. We don't know what that's going to be. And the third one is... Crypto is in what we call dial-up to broadband moment. So what they're talking about here is what we talk about a lot on this channel, and that's to do with adoption. We need adoption. We need people to come onto crypto without these barriers to entry, such as knowledge, being able to use ledgers, Trezors, whatever it might be. We need this adoption. How do we do that? We need people to be able to use UIs, user interfaces, which are easy to use. And for that reason, again, this isn't going to happen anytime soon. But when it does happen, that will drive mass adoption. For example, if Twitter or X was to introduce a tipping feature for creators, whatever it might be, and it uses Doge, the end user will put in $10. Without any knowledge, it will automatically be converted into Doge, and that Doge will be used to tip. The end user has no idea what they're doing other than loading up with $10. The rest of it is in the background. We want crypto to be like a swan, where retail only see the serene head, and crypto is everything that's going on under the water, kicking away and swimming away in the background, the same way that the internet works for us today. We don't see what goes on in the background. We don't see the connections. We don't see anything else. So he's right. The problem is this area, what he's talking about now, is not going to happen in the short term. So when we're talking about bullish territory for the next bull run. The only one really that's going to happen next year is the ETF. The other two are what we've been calling for on this channel for, well, ever since we started, which is adoption, number one, and number two is regulation. Adoption and regulation are what we need. They take a very long time. However, these are three very important points that they've raised, and I agree with them entirely. I just don't agree on the timescales for them. Now, let's move on. Hello, Dom Curson. Thank you for joining and taking part in our stream today. Remember, wherever you are, drop a like, say hello. I'm going to move on now to look at Michael Saylor. For those of you that don't know, Michael Saylor was the CEO of MicroStrategy. He stepped aside to look after the Bitcoin element, and his university friend and business partner now runs MicroStrategy, which really isn't much of a company, to be honest. But before I get to that, this not loading. There we go. Hopefully that appears on your screen in a second. There we go. Right. One moment, everybody. Just putting something into my phone, and then I will be back in 1 second. There we go. Right, that's done. That's done. Right, we are back in the room. So Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy are buying more Bitcoin, and they have bought a lot of Bitcoin over the last several years. Now, why is this important? I don't think people realize just how much Bitcoin MicroStrategy now holds. We've had the news about one exchange being identified as holding most Bitcoin in the world. We've got other news about other exchanges holding 1% of the supply of Bitcoin. MicroStrategy now holds 158,000 Bitcoin. Why is that important to me? Before we get into the article, there are 21 million Bitcoin ever going to be produced and exist. 1 million is in Satoshi Nakamoto's wallet, which will never be seen again. We are down to 20 million. I expect 3 million Bitcoin to have disappeared, either through people passing away, people forgetting their wallets, or passphrase should I say, people sending it to the wrong address on the wrong chain. So I think there's only really 17 million Bitcoin ever going to be in existence, and that number's going to fall every year as people send it to the wrong places. So if there's only going to be 17 million, and MicroStrategy now holds 158,000, they only need to buy 12,000 more Bitcoin to own 1% of the total supply of Bitcoin that's ever going to be. Now, there is a bit of an issue with this, and that's the fact that MicroStrategy are actually down about $500 million on their investment, because of course the average price is $27,000. The price of Bitcoin at this moment in time is $26,200. So they've overpaid $800 per Bitcoin on 158,000 Bitcoin. However, this man is going to be lauded as an absolute genius in 2 years' time if Bitcoin does reach $100,000. Could MicroStrategy become a $1 trillion company? It is it's something to think about. It is possible, but let's get into the article. Michael Saylor announced on Twitter that they bought another 5,500 coins for 147 million at an average price of 27. The average price of their total bag is $29,500. So as of September the 24th, they had just over 158,000 at the price I've just mentioned. That amounts to $4.68 billion. Now, obviously, remember, when we do, let's say we do a 5x from here. We do a 5x from here, that company is going to be worth $23 billion. And that's only in the next bull run. Imagine what the company's going to be worth in 2, 3, 4 bull runs from now. There is diminishing returns, yes, but also we have ETFs, institutional investment, companies allowed to have it as part of their treasury. All of these things will just pump more and more money in. So $29,500 for a coin. We could look back on this video in 5 years' time and laugh when the price of Bitcoin is $250,000. So we know about this. We know about the price. The firm previously bought 12,500 Bitcoin in June. So overall, don't forget that even without institutional investors, you have people like MicroStrategy. Also, don't forget Tether are also buying up Bitcoin using their profits. You have these big existing crypto players buying huge chunks of Bitcoin off the market. And at one point in the very near future, we're going to hit a supply shock. I haven't got time to go into it today, but basically we're going to run out of Bitcoin on exchanges. And that's going to absolutely shoot the price beyond what I'm conservatively predicting. So just bear that in mind, that Bitcoin could be on a bit of a roller coaster for the next couple of years, especially if we have a supply shock and especially if all of the ducks line up for next April. Now let's move on. Good morning, Tally. Thank you for joining us. Next article is to do with boring Bitcoin. As I said, today is going to be dominated by Bitcoin and what Bitcoin is doing, how it's moving in the market, and I like articles like this. Bitcoin has become boring, here's what could wake it up. Now, don't forget, Bitcoin is on a 4-year cycle. Nothing breaks the Bitcoin 4-year cycle other than black swans. So where are we? We are probably post bear market, pre-bull market. We're in the accumulation phase where Bitcoin, it does move 30, 40, 50% up and down over a long period of time. But that's still quite boring for Bitcoin. Remember, Bitcoin used to have God candles of 20% and 15%. We haven't seen that for a long time. So crypto fatigue has settled in as trading volume flatlines and investors move on to AI. Again, I don't agree with this at all. But I do agree with the sentiment. Don't tell me that it's... I did have the article on this and it was on my screen, but it's not anymore. So basically what this article talks about is the fact that since the peak of the bull run, trading volume has been slowly declining. For example, I will show you what I was talking about before, which is the volume. This should bring up the volume. And that should show us, okay, so this is the volume over the peak. So when we were up here, trading volume was 125 billion, 142 billion, 124 billion. That was the volume during the bull run. We've come all the way down here. That was the pits of the bear market, if you like. And now we're down here. So even though we're up 20%, if you look at the volume, that was still 45.8 billion in volume. We're now sitting at 28 billion. So the volume has come down more than the price. And that's just because of where we are. I mean, look at the difference between the peak here. Look at this. We had negligible flatlining in terms of the market cap, but the volume was still incredibly high. So we're nowhere near that. There's lots of reasons for that. We've shook out people after the previous bull run, and we're in the boring accumulation phase of Bitcoin. That's where we are. And as I was saying before, anything between 20 and 25,000 for Bitcoin is a good price to buy, because when we do start to move into the supply shock stage and the bull run, we will start to see that volume rise back to 100, 140, 150 billion a day. So it's a good job that article didn't load, because we are now a little bit behind. So this was the article that I highlighted, and as I said at the start of the show, I didn't want to cover this until there was more information about it. I think today's Tuesday. I think this happened on Sunday, so I didn't cover it in yesterday's show. So Hong Kong cryptocurrency firm loses $200 million in the largest theft of its kind this year. Mixin, which claims to have 1 million users using the network for transferring digital assets, says it's been attacked by hackers. It's the 10th largest crypto hack of all time and the biggest in 2023. That is some hack. Now, there was another interesting hack yesterday, which I believe was Aptos, where fake Aptos tokens were being sent to an exchange, and it was to do with how they weren't tracking the correct variables for the tokens. So they were accepting the fake tokens without checking that they were real. Good morning, Penoy James. Good morning, Aztec. Buljari. Hello. Thank you for joining. So let's get into this. I did something before and it didn't work, so I'm going to do it again. One moment. Okay, there we go. There's been a couple of hacks recently. This one, now some of the commentary on Twitter was people saying we've never heard of Mixin, and I'd never heard of them either. It describes itself as a network for transferring digital assets. It has 1 million users. We know all of this. It stops allowing users to withdraw their funds from the network, but that transfers were not affected and services will reopen once the vulnerabilities are fixed. Mixin will announce a solution for how to deal with the lost assets, it said. Last year, hackers stole 3.8 billion. We know all this. Now, I've never heard of them. And from what I've read, this was a centralized exchange, not a decentralized exchange. So all I will say is when you have your crypto, and not many people agree with this statement, when you have your crypto and you are new, you keep your crypto on a top 10 exchange and you turn on all of your security. You turn on 2FA, you turn on mobile phone verification, you turn on anti-phishing codes, you turn all of those things on, and you keep your money on an exchange. I know people will say, not your keys, not your crypto, but the chances of you falling for one of these hacks is incredibly high if you don't know what you're doing. So as far as I'm concerned, keep your money on exchange, keep it safe, and whatever you do, don't try using a DeFi platform, which clearly isn't a DeFi platform. That is what I would say. Now, I'm just going to update the menu. We've got a few minutes left. Then we're going to get on to this next article, which is to do with yet another debt ceiling in America. Oh, has all that worked? I can't see. Sorry, give me a second. My app seems to have frozen. We were doing so well today. Everything was running smoothly, and then all of a sudden the app stops working, so I can't see any messages at this moment in time. Good morning to Web3 Superstar. Thank you for joining us. There we go. Okay, everything's back now. Let's get on to talk about the news that most, if not all, of the American civil service will close down as another government shutdown happens. Again, in America, they have an obscene amount of debt in America, and they keep hitting the debt ceiling. So we're getting to the point now where we are starting to see an acceleration in the debt in America. The more the debt accelerates, the more they have to print to devalue the debt and in turn devalue the dollar, weakening the dollar against the euro, the pound, the yen, Swiss franc, etc. It's almost like a death spiral for the American dollar, and what they really need to do is start to cut the debt. Now, the debt's a funny thing in America. If you went and studied it, you'd realise that the majority of debt in America is owed to itself. And if you took the debt owed to America and you balance that off against the debt America owes, you'll find that a lot of these countries aren't in as much debt as you would imagine. That being said, they are still printing themselves into oblivion. The United States government could be shut down in the next 7 days, with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy facing political pressure from members of his own party on how to handle spending plans. Now, remember, Biden wanted to spend an absolute fortune on I think it was quite ironic, really. He called it the inflation beater. So he was going to spend money to beat inflation, which is it's like pouring petrol on a fire. If you spend money to beat inflation, what you actually do is push inflation up, because you're putting more money into the economy, which is pushing up demand, and supply doesn't change, so things cost more. A shutdown, unsurprisingly, would halt lawmakers from moving forward on any pieces of legislation until they resolve the issue of funding the US government into the next fiscal year. Though shutdowns are not unheard of in the history of the US government, the reasons behind them seem to have shifted over the years, from public concerns over funding to political manoeuvres. It is seeming more and more likely there will be a shutdown, with the fractured House, divisions and Senate going in their own direction, said the Blockchain Association Director of Government Relations, Ron Hammond. However, for crypto, this is big, as the Senate was always the obstacle for legislation getting signed into law. Whenever the shutdown fiasco subsides, this will be an important dynamic to watch. Whether you're watching the shutdown fight or Gensler this week, get your popcorn ready. And that was yesterday. So we expect some fireworks this week. So a lot of the crypto bills are not divided on Republican and Democrat. They are cross-party positions. And what you have is you have the senators that are bought by the banks against the senators that aren't. And that's the line that people are fighting on. A shutdown would effectively stop all federal agencies from doing anything considered non-essential. So this is going to happen. The House of Representatives will convene on September the 26th to address the issue. That is today. So expect either fireworks or nothing They seem to be the two options in crypto these days. We either see a massive spike and a massive drop, or we see absolutely nothing. But as you can see, Bitcoin is still holding at 26.3. It would be great if we could get back up towards 26.6, which is our next volume area. It'd be great if we could get up there, but don't expect an absolute show over the next few days. Now we move on, and we're on time. 11:45. We have done the show in exactly 45 minutes as promised. So we can now close that down. Remember, the one thing I haven't said today, which I should have done at the start, is wherever you are watching us, whatever you are doing, make sure to give us a follow, give us a like, subscribe to us wherever you are. Obviously, for various reasons, I can't say anything other than that. But make sure to hit the follow and the like button. We stream every day. We stream at 11 o'clock every day except for Fridays, where we stream at 1 p.m. So make sure to give us a follow. I'm back tomorrow at 11 anyway, and then I'm back with Hollywood on Thursday at 11 o'clock, where we will do more deep dives. The Thursday and Saturday shows is where we do deep dives into projects. We review the projects and we look at the price action, and we decide if they're going to go up or down. We've actually had a good run at this. We did have a few, because obviously Gala had its CEO and founder suing each other. But apart from that, we've got it pretty much spot on with things like Link. We've got it pretty much spot on with Blazelle and things like that. So we've not got a bad record. I was saying the other day, I think we're going to start to record our price predictions, so then we can actually show how well we're doing and the like. So make sure to follow us. It doesn't cost you anything. If you do want to support us, we do accept tips, so feel free to tip wherever you are. And with that being said, it's now time for the quiz. If you've never taken part in the quiz, this is 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the end of the show, and it's a bit of fun. That's all it is. It's not meant to make you rich, it's meant to make you rich in terms of your knowledge. That's all you need to know. Good morning, Elian. Welcome to the show. You're just in time for the quiz. So all you have to do to take part in the quiz is very simple. Just paste the answer to the question into chat, and I will give you a shout out if you are right or wrong. These questions are general crypto questions. They're not going to be specific to, what's the exact hash rate of Bitcoin's current difficulty level, for example. We're not going to ask questions like that. They're going to be very, very straightforward and very, very simple. So the first question is, what does the ticker name SOL stand for? So all you have to do is type in the name of the token, which has a ticker name of SOL. That's all you have to do. And if you're in certain places, you will win a small amount of crypto for getting that right. And my apps have frozen yet again. Let me go back in and make sure this is all working. There we go. Perfect. Now I can see. So what is the name of the project? What's the name of the blockchain which has a token called SOL? Okay, the correct answer is, of course, Solana. So congratulations to everybody that got that right. Remember, you have to put the answer in lowercase in certain places to win. So Bibek, congratulations. To Samantha, Sindbad, Noted, Kryptonite, Addy, Titans, Elian, congratulations, you are all right. Not sure exactly how many people got that right because it hasn't worked out for me. But congratulations to all of you. So I hope you got that right, Pinoy, as well. Welcome to the show. If you're new to crypto, we try and cover as much of the news as possible, and we try and do it in as simple a way as possible. So we try not to use overly complicated language in what we're explaining, in the hope that most people understand it. Web3 Superstar, you actually got that right for once. Congratulations. It is indeed Solana. Next question. Another simple question. Remember, put the answer in lowercase. What is the ticker name, or what is the three-letter name of the project Litecoin? So Litecoin has a ticker name, three-letter name. What is it? Just put that into chat and you will have won. Also remember to smash the like button while you're waiting for the answer, because we are really low on likes today. We've normally got a lot more likes than we have now, so make sure to smash the like button. Lots and lots of people are getting this one right. What is the ticker name of Litecoin? All you have to do is type the answer in. 52 correct answers so far. 58. This is a decent number today. 64. The answer is, of course, LTC. The ticker name of Litecoin is LTC. Well done to all of you got that right. There's actually quite a lot of you for once. Normally we get 30 to 40 correct answers. That was nearly 70. So Rajesh, Ferry, Jenny, well done. Miss Oz, congratulations. Wakir, well done. Drew, crypto user. Russivan, welcome back. Chevon is in the chat. Hello Chevon. Tariq, Elian, well done to all of you for getting that right. Remember, I'm not going to ask you difficult questions. I'm just going to ask you general crypto-related questions. So, another easy one. Hold on 1 second. Okay, is Bitcoin proof of work or proof of stake? So, the biggest cryptocurrency in the world, Bitcoin. Is it proof of work or proof of stake? So proof of work is where there are lots and lots of computers around the world that are using or are calculating very complex mathematical problems and solving them. And by solving them, they are adding blocks to the blockchain. And those computers are called miners, and that's proof of work. Proof of stake is where you have lots of computers around the world that validate the blocks based on you staking your crypto with those validators. That's proof of stake, because you stake your crypto with them. So is Bitcoin proof of stake or proof of work? All you have to do is type POW or POS. That's it. Few seconds left. The answer is, of course, Bitcoin is proof of work. 67 answers across the channels. Well done. Dimitri, Jazia, well done. Adi, Yogita, Death God. Hamza, that's too many to read out. Well done to the winners. Congratulations, it is of course proof of work. And there's still people typing proof of work. There's obviously some kind of lag going on in here. Next question. Just give me a second, it takes a little bit of time to type the question in. Okay, question entered. What is the animal in the Dogecoin logo? Not breed, so don't type Shiba Inu. What animal is in the Dogecoin logo? All you have to do is type the answer and you will have won. Death God, I said animal, not the breed, so it's not the answer is not Shiba Inu because that's the breed of dog, and that's not the answer. Lots and lots of people have got this right. Well done to all of you. Well done. Boom Bazooka, congratulations. Totty, Snack, lots and lots. Elian, well done everybody. Now I have to call it there because I'm waiting for two parcels to arrive at 12 o'clock, which is in 3 minutes time. So what I'm going to do is I will drop a box, I will put the end plate on with a countdown, so we'll leave a 10-minute countdown on, and then what we will do is we will see you all in the morning at 11 o'clock. So I will see you then. Thanks for coming everybody. We appreciate everybody who visits us on the channel. Don't forget, give us a follow, give us a like, and we will see you in the morning.